Whoa! Hello, everyone. Hoodie D here, joined by Lady Madea. We are going to be talking about the horror film Wolfman. This film is a modern reimagining of the classic horror tale. The film follows Blake, a San Francisco husband and a father who inherits his remote childhood home, which is in very rural Oregon, up in the mountains. No one's around after his father's mysterious disappearance. Seeking to mend his strange marriage with his wife, Charlotte, played by Julia Garner, Blake convinces her to take a break from the city life and visit the property with their young daughter, Ginger. During their stay at this remote house, the family is terrorized by a deadly werewolf that attacks at night during the full moon. Blake fights to protect his family from the bloodthirsty creature, all while experiencing unsettling changes himself. He begins to transform into something inhuman, leading Charlotte to question whether the greater threat lies outside their home or within. It left me, pleasantly surprised in the movie theater. I had a good time with it. I didn't walk out of there, upset or mad at the movie being bad. I had a great time with it. What did you think when you walked out, Lady Medea?
I thought the movie was pretty solid. I think it was handled very well. The family dynamics were portrayed well. You have, I think from what I gathered in the beginning, it looked like the marriage was struggling a little bit, but the father daughter relationship was very strong. You could tell that the two of them had a really strong bond, and they spent basically the mom was a breadwinner in the family, and the dad was taking care of the daughter, and they had a great relationship. It was you know only natural that um, when we found out that the dad was bitten, and then or not bitten, I think he was like scratched or attacked, right? He wasn't bitten, but he started to turn. It was interesting to see how he was struggling with the beast within him, and of course kind of losing his human traits, but and then turning into obviously this animal, but also maintaining his relationship with his wife and especially with his daughter, and kind of struggling and trying to keep that bond with his daughter. And I think it was just beautifully portrayed how they were kind of losing that understanding, the human language and the animal understanding of human language. So you could tell that that the humans were talking, and he couldn't understand the language, and vice versa. They couldn't understand what he was trying to convey to them. So it was really, really beautifully shown in the movie, that basically the tragic reality of him slowly turning into the beast, into the monster, and at the same time trying to protect his family, and from the threat outside, and also himself, right? So
Yeah. No, absolutely. They portrayed that the themes of being human versus being a monster and that family dynamic. I agree with you, everything you said there. For me, when the movie started, the opening scene was perfect. It was very well done. Tension was built, and I could feel it. You were kind of on the edge of your seat, like, what's happening? Is this
from the
kid
very
and dad?
beginning, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the very beginning. You
Mhm.
didn't know if this kid and his dad were gonna live or die. Uh,
Mhm.
the sound was really good, and the way they, had the camera going back and forth, I really enjoyed that. So, shout out to the team who were responsible for that opening. It was a very good opening to a film. The movie, in my opinion, does a very good job balancing the suspense as it's leading up to something horrifying. It doesn't just, throw a jump scare at you. While there are a few jump scares, it's usually leading up
Mhm.
to something terrifying. There's a scene specifically where, as the husband is turning, he has an injury on his arm, and he just starts eating his arm. Like, he just starts eating
Yeah.
chunks of his flesh off his arm, and As someone who is into the gore and like the violence and stuff, I gotta say this was kind of disturbing watching the way he just tore at his arm and just ate it.
As
Uh,
it was for his wife who was watching it.
yeah, his wife is just sitting there watching it, like, what is happening? I
Yeah.
thought that was a great scene. I did appreciate the use of practical effects. The wolf men
Mhm.
themselves, they were not CGI. They had, props put on them, makeup, effects, hair, all that fun stuff. There probably was some CGI as they were transforming a little bit with their, hands turning into the claws and stuff, but that's okay. But the actual performance of the Wolfman, it was someone, acting and standing there. It was not just a CGI big monster like we're used to in Hollywood these days. So I did appreciate that. Shout out to the effects and design team on that. One thing I have to say I was not expecting, the sound design in this movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a scene where he can't hear or understand his family
Mhm.
anymore, and there's like a banging upstairs, and he thinks it's, something is trying to break in, and he goes up there and it's just a spider crawling, but it sounds like it's pounding every time the
Yeah.
spider's legs move. So I really appreciated the sound design. It was fantastic. What do you got to say about that, Lady Medea?
Yeah, it was just amazing. Like I said, throughout the first part of the movie, when we see that slow transformation, when he slowly transforms from the human to the monster, kind of starts with him losing the teeth, then like the sense of hearing, when it kind of gets absolutely great. He can hear the crawling spider. I, I thought it was amazing, like the the movie, they showing us, how different the animals are from us, and like it was absolutely, great. It was beautiful just to see the progression, and of course, from just those subtle little effects, of course it gets more and more intense, when he's basically physical appearance starts to, take effect, when he's teeth change, when his facial, obviously, facial structure, bones and everything changes, the hair appears everywhere, so like he turns into the, proper wolf or wolfman. But it was amazing work. It was job, done well, really.
Agreed. Overall, I didn't have a terrible time, like I said at the beginning of this movie.
Mhm.
Usually with these horror films, there's kind of hit or miss generally, especially for January. You know, usually it's not that great. I remember last year I saw a movie called Night Swim, and it was not that great. So it
Yeah.
was fun going to see a horror movie in January. I went with a couple friends. We had a good time. The film to me seemed to be all about family and then that internal struggle between keeping your humanity versus, turning into a complete monster. So I think they did a great job balancing that. Definitely worth a watch for me. I recommend it. What about you?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's worth going and seeing to the movies and seeing it. Very entertaining, uh, scary enough to, really enjoy, for those who like some scary movies. A few really good jump scares. There is a good scene in a car when they spot the car and they decide to leave. The husband is in a very poor shape already. You can tell that he's close to the full conversion. And they, of course, the family, the daughter and the wife, are not going to abandon him. They decide to take him with them. And of course, they find the keys and the battery that they want to use to jumpstart it. And the entire scene is like a masterpiece. They tiptoe to make sure they know the beast is out there somewhere, and they try to do everything very quietly, starting with getting to the car, opening the door, closing the door, opening the hood of the car, and and starting the car. But we know that the beast is coming. We cannot see it. We don't know where it's gonna jump out from, and yeah, it's unbelievable. It's like you basically sit at the edge of your seat and just wait for it. So, and there were a few of those also throughout the movie. So, like I said, very well done, very well produced, um, good cast, and yeah, definitely worth going and seeing. You're not gonna be disappointed. If you like scary movies, this is a solid one to see.
What's your rating?
I would say 7.
I was going to say the same thing. I gave it a 7 out of
Mhm.
10.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching another review